Hey, what's up guys? Commander Jaime here, and I'm bringing you my tournament report for the BCS Indianapolis that just happened over the weekend. So, I'm going to be going over day 1 and day 2 and how those games went, people I met and all that kind of stuff, so let's go. So starting day 1, I actually had a buy card, so for the first 2 rounds, I was just chilling, eating food because I was hungry. It was basically lunchtime by round 2. Also, I was spectating my cousin Maro's games. He was playing Blue Wave. I was spectating Black Eye Senpai's games too, and his friends Tyler, Dan, and Mouse. So, see how they were doing, and also see what was actually being played. And to be honest, there's a lot of different variety. A good example was a lot more of Aquaforce than I thought it would be. Right off the back, round 1, I already saw a Davos mirror match going up. who thought, you expect that, right? For the trip, I came with my cousin in my car, Maro, and then, of course, our girlfriends, Christina and Sam, so it's just us 4. And we met with Black Eye Senpai and his friends. They came from Ohio, and so those are generally our little group right now that we just formed for day 1 and day 2. And so, like I said, I was looking around, spectating how they were doing, and then finally, round 3 started. I faced Pale Moon. I wasn't expecting Pale Moon right off the bat, or at all, to be honest. And it was Nightmare Dolls. And for the life of me, I couldn't remember if Nightmare Dolls was the one that had a grade 2 game or not. And once I decided to actually write a 7k grade 1 and have a 7k booster for Grenache to actually do 2 attacks and give him 2 damage, that's when I remembered, I'm like, this is not Silver Thrones. Silver Thrones are the ones that have a strong grade 2 game. So I'm good. And how it ended up being is basically I had a Cannoneer after I first strode, and he strode next, and he only had 1 Alice that he had to cope with, and he made it a lot harder to do anything with that. And so I kind of Cannoneered and blew it up, so it wouldn't, go into soul and then come back out, that kind of thing. And after that, it was pretty much game after that. I think, yeah, I went into Negrosanger, and that was it. So, round 3, so I'm X-0 right now. Round 4, I faced off the Garmore player, the one that went 10-0 in Swiss. His name is Maverick. He's from Card Fighters on the Ground, and I go there once in a while too, usually for ARG events. So I'm familiar with him, and of course I've played with him before, so I already know he's playing golds. But golds are cool. And what happened basically is that in the early game, he was the one going first. So when he got to grade 2, I had given him 2 Counter Blasts already. I felt kind of okay with that. He went off with an Echo Veil and got a Bernarius, and that was pretty much it. So he poked me 3 times that turn. And when I rolled to grade 2, I pretty much made an effort to all attack Bernarius. So he would have to force intercept and guard with it if he wanted to keep it alive, and that's what he did. He intercepted, he guarded it from cards with hands so he could live. Then his next turn, he decided to ride grade 2 again, and it was a 10k bis Liberator, so he still had a Liberator name, and he called a second Echo Veil from hand to try to get another card and also trigger Bernarius, but he whiffed, so that was good on my part. And he attacked 3 times. I was okay. I rode to grade 3 with OG Nightrose. I called another grade 3, which was another OG Nightrose on the left rear guard. And then on my right, I had a Negrabone in the back row, and I called a Rampage Sage. So I had an 11, 11, 11 columns. Of course, I put my efforts into the Rampage column attacking Bernarius. He intercepted, and then I had my Vanguard attack the Bernarius, swoop up the Rampage, and I'm 16k base, and I got a card back. He no guards it and it dies, and at this point I decided to not attack with my other regard grade 3, so I wouldn't give him any face-up damage on his first stride, because he's gonna ride grade 3 in stride, and he decided to ride grade 3 and stride into Campbell, the one that's on hit, call something, and made his turn lackluster, and I was able to live that, and then went on my Gauche turn. And then I ended my Gauche turn. I think I pushed him, I pushed him to 2 to 5 that turn, but I couldn't finish him off. But I still had a Cannoneer on the board, so then when he did his turn, and he attacked with 1 column and still had Bernarius or something like that, and I just blew it up with Cannoneer. Surprisingly, he didn't know about that play, that Granblue can do that. So I'm like, yeah, we can do that kind of shit. And he's just like, what the fuck? I try to do a second Gauche turn or a Negro Songer. I can't remember what I did, but I was trying to go for the kill and also get some advantage if I could. But I couldn't finish it off. He generated advantage the turn prior because he was able to go off with Coel, Zoran, Catch Call, and getting units like Lavania, and I think he had like Gigantic Ringer to help with his hand, so he definitely had enough to guard. And my shield value in hand wasn't as much, and I think I only had a PG with basically everything else being 5k shield, so he made big columns again, and I just kind of like died. That's how I lost against Maverick. So that's my first loss in round 4. So round 5, I was facing Chaos, and right off the back, I didn't know I was facing Chaos. His forerunner was Warline, which is the Glendale starter usually used. I guess as he was riding up to grade 1 and 2, I noticed that it was playing Chaos cards. Good example is Zinc. So I was like, you're probably using this as a consistency engine or something like that. Whatever, you know. So I'm like, crap, and because I thought you were Glendios, I called rear guards early to try to rush you. But now I kind of like fucked myself over because you're Chaos. So now I had to play some kind of recovery game. And what I did is that since he went first, he will be the one to get to... No, I went first. So I would be going to grade 3 first, and then he would ride in stride. I chose not to ride grade 3 and stay at 2, and if he rode a grade 3, he would have to discard for Chaos Breaker, maybe call Photon and stuff, but it's not as big of a turn as, you know, they would ride in stride with Universe, right? So what he ended up doing is that he rode to grade 3, and he Sabreezed immediately, so none of my stuff got locked that turn, which is a huge plus on my part, you know. And we went throughout the game, and one turn I did a Dragoot turn to nuke all of his rear guards, and I did that because I know he had the heal trigger to go into Karina, and so that's what he did. He went into Karina, used the heal trigger skill to unflip, then he started resolving the G guard skill, Counter Blast 1, flip a G guard, and then he realized that he didn't have any rear guards. Yeah, so you can't lock anything, and you can't lock of mine, so I'm good to go. We got a judge, of course, because he was wondering, like, can I take that back? And I'm like, yeah, I don't think you can, because you already resolved some other skill, and that skill can only go off if you call that specific G-guard too. And so, but I was like, let's get a judge, so make sure we're good. And the judge said that, yeah, you already gone too far in resolving the skills and everything, and you already kind of like chose the card anyway too. And so I was like, oh well, that sucks. So this was my Vanguard of Vanguard, and so he had to drop more cards to compensate for the missing shield value for that G-guard. Well, didn't even get shield value, but you know, he wanted to lock my stuff, but he has to drop more cards to guard, so because he was like at 5 or 4 damage, I can't remember. So then he went to his turn, and I think he did a Universe turn, and I still ended up with 1 free column front row, probably because I think he killed the front row rear guard before to get the extra draw just to stay in the game, because he kind of felt behind because of that. And I went into Negra Saga, so I was working with 1 column still. I'm like, okay, I can work around this, I can still get there. And my last attack hit him to 6 damage, but he 6 heal damage. And I'm like, crap, this is not my day. I might just get fucked over. And then after that, it kind of goes down to, he locked my front row, and this is before he can get to GB8 or something like that. So I went into Gauche and basically had a booster of Grenache and then Rampage. So when I attacked, I think Gauche was like 41 or something like that, or a big number. And this is all Vanguard of Vanguard. And he had no PG, so he had to make it a 2-pass. And I got Stan, and then my 3rd check was a crit trigger. And I was like, yeah, you can't 6 heal damage twice. So hopefully, you know, I get this, and I got it. So that was a huge, whew, you know, that was close. It's never fun facing the Link Joker. So I got the win there, and I'm still X1. Round 6, I faced the Robos. I met Jonathan Gao. He usually talks and makes posts on the Vanguardians Facebook. It's my first time actually meeting him in person and actually playing against him too. He started off with the Enigman right chain, and I was like, oh, Enigmans, and this far? I'm like, okay. And then I realized when he rides his grade 3, it's the Legion leader. I think it's the Die Kaiser Legion. And I was like, okay, so it's still the Robos. You were just using the Enigman right chain for consistency and early game and all that, all that kind of stuff, right? I get it, and we get farther enough to where he still has a Laurel and hits my Grenache early on. I think he got the first stride, and I'm like, yep, that's going through. So he's restanding, and he got cards to hand, so he had advantage back gained, and of course, the game went a little longer because of that. I couldn't finish him off because he had enough hand to guard stuff. And he went into a Dimax turn where basically he shoved 2 stand triggers back. The ones that give like +4, I think, and then on attack you draw a card. So your Vanguard swinging big as shit, and then your Regards are pretty big because of Dimax's skill, and then they got crit as well, which is scary because I was at 4, so any of those things hit, I'm dead. So he attacked with the Regards first, and then attacked with the Vanguard last. He was hoping to get at least 1 stand trigger. Especially one of the Regards was a Die Lesson, and so that was going to be a big-ass attack. And I guarded all 3 attacks, and I got lucky. He didn't get any stands at all. I think he got like 2 5Ks and maybe a crit, which I PG'd and it didn't matter at that point. So after that, I pretty much did a Necrosonger turn, and I just went from there. So that was kind of scary. Yeah, Dimax is a little scary. But yeah, it was a good game overall still. So shout out to Jonathan. Round 7, I faced Messias. It was Dan, which was Black Guy Senpai's friend. And he's a really nice guy, and to be honest, for the game, I was having a good time, even though it's like Lean Joker. Usually you don't have a good time when you face Lean Joker. But yeah, he's a really nice guy, and we had fun still. And early on, I tried to rush him, but he hits 2 draw triggers in his damage checks. So that gives him an extra card, and of course power to withstand attacks. And then he wrote to Freeze Ray when he was at 3, and he drove check a heal trigger, put it into 2, and now I'm in this awkward position where like crap, now to deal with Freeze Ray for like a couple of turns, because he locks your rear guards and it kind of shuts your multi-attack strategy. So I pretty much had to come back on that, and it came down to one turn where I did a misplay. So I did the math right, and I had enough counterblast to do a Necrosonger turn. I knew he was going to lock one of my rear guards, and so what I did is that my other column had Rampage. So I attacked his rear guards, and then when I attacked with Vanguard to Vanguard, I swooped up the Rampage, have an open circle now in the front row, and the other one is still a rear guard, so he's going to lock it. He takes it, and then of course locks that rear guard, and then when I do the Necrosonger skill, I realize that I don't have any counterblast, and I'm like, what the hell? That's not right. I could have sworn I did the math right. So after debating that, it's like 4 face down damage, no face up at all. I'm like, that's weird. So whatever. I felt mad at myself, and I ended my turn, and he drew and strode, and then my damage was moved a bit for whatever reason. I think I was just like moving stuff, organizing it, or like just double checking. I was like, that can't be right, something's not right. And lo and behold, I was at 5 damage, and the face up damage was actually hiding underneath the counterblasts that were face down. So wow, right? Because of that, I was like, this is gonna cost me the game, I just know it. And he had enough hand advantage to withstand my next 2 turns, and it came down to me not being able to finish him off because he had enough hand to guard a Galleon turn. I think I went into Galleon, or a Dragoot. I think I went into Dragoot, trying to return Mick and stuff like that, and retire his stuff as well. I couldn't do much at that turn, so I was like, I'm gonna lose. So I lost, which was a bummer. I was hoping to go into day 2 with X1, but now I'm X2. I was very upset with myself. Nothing against Dan. Dan was a good person. He was friendly, and he was fun to play against. It was just me being stupid, and I can't believe I made something stupid like that. So, whatever. Brush it off. Day 2 is coming up next day. I need to focus on winning my games, and let's see if I can get far and actually squeeze into top 8. So, that was my idea. Lo and behold, I was talking to my cousin Mauro about watch win my rounds tomorrow and go to top 8 and then end up being second or something like that. Just knowing my luck. Just saying that, I don't know. I have weird luck sometimes where it's like I'm gonna make it this far, but I'm gonna end up short or something. just so you guys know that I said that on Saturday at the end of the day.